Hello and welcome to 5-Year Club video number 69. This is going to be a practical video about personal capital because the last video was fuzzy. Personal capital is a free, easy-to-use web application that allows you to track your net worth and investments with very little effort. Personal Capital has an iOS app and an Android app also. So whatever device you're using, you will be able to track your net worth whenever you want. All you do is sign up. It's absolutely free, doesn't require a credit card or anything. They're then going to ask you what your login information is for your bank account, for your investment accounts. Millions of people, I think, use Personal Capital at this point. Maybe not millions, maybe hundreds of thousands. A lot of wealthy people. I wouldn't worry about putting in your information. I don't work for them or anything. They use industry standard encryption stuff to access your bank account information. So I don't think there's any security concerns there. So what I want to do tonight is just to show you the user interface and show you what you're going to see and what kind of information you're going to get after you finish that initial setup process. So let's minimize this video camera thingy. Okay, now I'm stuck on the side of the earth. And I will move this over so that I'm able to point to things with my mouse. Good. Okay, good. When you log in, this is the view that you're going to see. They're going to give you a number net worth figure here. They're going to give you the totals of your cash accounts, the totals of your investment accounts, as well as the balances as of the last check, which in this case, I guess, is 8 hours ago, of all your different investment accounts. They're also going to show you a graph of the last 90 days of net worth. So for many of you, I guess you can think of this as like, say, 6 paychecks. And how much that net worth has increased or decreased in the last 90 days, and how much that net worth has increased or decreased in the last day. Here we've got some investable cash numbers. It's going to give you a total amount of investable cash and how that's changed over the various months. See if you're building up too much investable cash. How the market has done in the last day. So, for example, in the last day, my investments went up by 0.47. Foreign, like some foreign benchmark is plus 0.75, and the S&P 500 was plus 0.26. So I'm kind of in between the foreign and the S&P 500 because my investments are a combination of foreign and S&P 500. So it makes sense that I would be kind of in between these two benchmarks in terms of my investment changes. It'll tell you your cash flow for the last 30 days. So how much of the money, how much of your income versus outgo have you been able to keep, or have you had more outgo than income? It's got a budgeting feature. I don't heavily rely on this budgeting feature. I keep my budget in a Google spreadsheet, but it will tell you according to a budget that you set up, which I try to set up to what my budget is, how you're doing according to their user interface. I don't find it really helpful for me because I've got, insurance payments that change every month and throw this thing off, but maybe it'll work for you. And then we have got a portfolio balance, which is the same 90 days as this net worth. It's just breaking out that portion of the net worth that is investments only. So if you have a home, you can actually include the home equity. You can include, your home mortgage loan here, and you can include the home and its like Zillow estimated value if you wanted to. Here, I don't, because I find it distracting because California real estate's very volatile, but you could do that. Anyway, this portfolio balance is going to show you only your investment portfolio, stuff that's in stocks and bonds, and how that has done in the last 90 days. Here we've got just a little retirement savings widget. Tells you it thinks you need to save this amount, but you've only saved this amount, so you should keep saving or save more or whatever. And that is the login page. So yeah, the most useful things for me are basically seeing this 90-day change and seeing the net worth number. And that's what I use this for. The app allows you to dig deeper into your finances. So if you clicked on this net worth link right here, it would take you to a page where it tracks your net worth in more detail and allows you to set the dates that you want to track your net worth. So here I've set the dates for 1 year, so it'll tell me what my net worth change is in the last year, and it will also allow me to add or remove specific accounts if I wanted to. Actually, no, this is just setting the if I wanted to track it for the last 56 days, I could set a custom date here. I think that's what it was. Yeah, is that I had set a custom date to get exactly the last year, and so that's why it says custom. Okay. If you click on cash right here, it's going to show you what your cash situation has been for the last year. So, you can see that I typically will get an infusion of cash from a paycheck, and then I will transfer it out of my cash accounts into investments or something else where I can't touch it, so that I can't spend it, so that I can do something responsible for it. This giant monolithic huge spike here is when I converted some investment savings to cash in order to pay off my mortgage, and then life resumes as normal. Get paid, transfer as much of it as I can away, get paid, transfer as much as I can away, get paid, transfer as much as I can away. If we keep going here, if you click on the investment tab, you'll be able to see what the investments are. So surprise, surprise, when I paid off the mortgage, some of my investments got sold, so that went way down. And then I've had to kind of crawl back from that and move that investment number back up and make up all my retirement contributions for last year and all that stuff. That's what I was busy doing. I don't have any credit to see or loans to see. I did have a little bit of mortgage right here that you'd be able to see before it got paid off, but it wasn't interesting, so I didn't bother to include it. Additionally, this is probably the second most useful feature of Personal Capital for me. The first most useful, of course, is that net worth number, because that's what I keep telling you that we want to increase. The second most important thing that I have found is this cash flow chart. So what it will show you is it'll show you what your cash flow was, your expenditures, and then also your income for the last month, which is the dotted line. So this dotted line represents my February. That's why it only goes to the 28th. And here we are on the solid line of March. So it will tell you if you are doing better or worse than the previous month. So for me, this is kind of a game. I want to get my solid line over my dotted line. That is the game for the month. It's tricky. It's obviously tricky in this one because I had a big Burning Man ticket expense at the beginning of the month, and that really just threw me way off. So currently I'm at a deficit of 477 for March compared with February. And because I get paid on the 15th, I have not had any income at the beginning of the month, so my cash flow so far is negative for March, even though I expect it to be positive by the end. It will also show you what your transactions are, so you can very quickly kind of look at a drop that maybe puts you below the previous month and then see what that drop was and say, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or oh, that's fine, that's just some kind of payment that I was going to do anyway. All right. I should mention the cash flow allows you to see income alone or expenses alone. For me, income alone is pretty boring because I generally just get paychecks and there's not a lot of variation in income. But if you were a contractor or something, that might be interesting. Expenses is a lot more interesting. A lot of times it's more clear to me when I cut out the income, especially if it's like a month where I got some kind of tax thing, like a tax refund, what's going on. So a lot of times I'll just click on expenses and again, try to get the solid line below the dotted line. Okay, so beyond cash flow, you can also have some very nice views of your investments in particular. So they will allow you to compare your investment performance against the S&P 500 or the Dow, which I don't think anybody should pay attention to the Dow because it's just some random mix of industrial companies. It doesn't have a whole lot of meaning. It's just like this historical thing that they use. But the performance of the Dow and the performance of the market overall, very different things. So I usually look at S&P 500, and then you could also click on foreign. It would show you your performance over time versus this foreign index that they've developed of foreign stocks. You could also compare your performance of your particular mix of stocks against the bond market to see how much better you are doing than bonds, typically, because over long periods of time, bonds don't do that well. All right. Additionally, so if we were to click on the allocation link here, we would see how our investments are allocated. So you can see that for me, I have a big old chunk in international stocks, 37%. I've got a big old chunk in US stocks, 49%. So let's add this up. 49 plus 37 is like, say, 86, 87%. So almost 90% of my investing is in stock, and most of that is in US stocks, but I do have a healthy bias towards international stocks. I do hold some bonds. The reason why I hold bonds is for my emergency fund. It's just to get something better than inflation or better than cash in my emergency fund. So I don't expect these bonds to make me any money. I just expect these bonds to help my emergency fund be available when I need it, and to help my emergency fund be protected from inflation over time just a little bit. My emergency fund also includes some stocks, so these bonds will kind of buffer me if the stock market falls and I don't get any gains. But I do use Betterment's safety net fund, it targets a 5% growth rate. So if inflation is 3% and it's targeting 5%, hopefully over long periods of time, my emergency fund will not be eaten by inflation. So that's the deal. That's why there are bonds here. I do have some cash, but I believe this is in an HSA. My HSA should be invested, but it's not. So I'm not perfect. Yep. And then alternatives, actually, I'm not even sure what this is. Maybe there are some REITs that are held in Betterment. If you look there, some small percentage of real estate investment trusts. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. I just don't know. Maybe this is Lending Club. Could be Lending Club. Seems kind of high for Lending Club. I don't know. Yeah, so that is the allocation tab. So you'll probably look at this once a year and say, yep, I'm holding mostly stock, and yep, I've got US stocks with an international bias. At least that's what I would recommend based on the last book I read by Jeremy Siegel, The Future for Investors. If you want to understand why my portfolio is this way, go look at that book. Personal Capital also has a retirement planner. So the retirement planner will let you set what your current savings are. It'll let you set what your current savings per year are. It'll let you set how much you want to include from Social Security in your plan. It will let you set how much you want to be able to spend in retirement, what your age is, and then they'll do a bunch of Monte Carlo simulations, which are really fancy ways of projecting the future based on your portfolio, and they will give you a percentage chance of success. So here I've modeled like retiring by 40 with a $3,000 income based on my portfolio, and they say, yep, you're probably going to make it, but it's not as high as it could be. You're roughly on track for retirement. This is just one tool I would use to plan for retirement, but I do think it is worth plugging in your numbers and seeing what you get, and plugging in new numbers and seeing what you get, just as a normal exercise, learning more about retirement planning. And finally, they have a retirement fee analyzer. This thing is cool because this thing will actually look at all the accounts that you put into Personal Capital in the very beginning, which could be from all kinds of different places. And they will find what the retirement fees are for all of the different mutual funds and, hopefully not mutual funds, but index funds held in those retirement accounts. And then they'll tell you what your total amount of fees is. And they'll translate that to, I think, how many years of retirement are lost to fees. Yeah, so apparently I've lost 1 year of retirement to fees. That's horrible. But 0.07, it's really difficult to get, retirement fees below 0.07. Their benchmark is 0.5. I would say you can definitely get 0.07. Just open some accounts with Betterment. They invest in Vanguard stuff, or go and invest in Vanguard directly. If you don't want to mess with Betterment, let's go back to this allocation thing. For US stocks, you can buy VTI. That's the Vanguard fund. And for international stocks, you could buy VEA. And just to keep things simple, instead of picking my allocation of 49 and 37, that's weird, just do 50-50. So just put your money 50-50 into VTI and VEA, and then you'll have a nice spread of US holdings and international holdings in very low-cost index funds. Opening a Vanguard account. So their retirement fee analyzer will let you see that. I probably look at this stuff like once a year. I just wanted to show you that they have it. You get a lot for free, because the whole thing is free, with Personal Capital. And it's a great way to keep track of your net worth, to keep track of your spending, and to really get a high-level view of your finances and a high-level view of if you are actually putting away the money that you think you're putting away according to the budget. All right, that's it for 5-Year Club video number 69. I highly recommend that you put it on your calendar or just go and sign up for a personal capital account right now. It really doesn't take long. It's totally free. They don't want any credit card information. I get absolutely nothing from telling you this. I just think that it's way better than Mint. I think Quicken is probably too hard to use, and so personal capital is what I recommend. It's helped me tremendously. I hope it helps you. That's it. Have a fabulous evening.